The cameras flashed, the crowd, completely froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Oh, absolutely.
Picture this, it is April 15th, 2026. We are at CinemaCon in Las Vegas, and the room is packed with industry heavyweights, journalists, photographers, everybody.
Right, a massive crowd.
Exactly. And this 32-year-old comedian steps out onto the stage to promote his new film, How to Rob a Bank. And he is dressed exactly how you would expect him to be dressed, casually.
Gray sweatpants, right?
Yep, gray sweatpants, a red t-shirt, and white Crocs. But that is not what makes the crowd murmur. What shocks the entire room, honestly, are his arms.
Yeah, because his infamous canvas of, over 200 chaotic tattoos is almost entirely bare.
Exactly. Faded outlines are all that remain. And then as he turns his head, the cameras catch it. A fresh, black, vertical word etched right next to his left ear. I mean, wow.
It's just a shocking reveal.
Totally shocking. And welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
Right. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And for today's deep dive, we are unpacking the extreme, messy, and totally viral redemption arc of Hollywood's most chaotic comedian, Pete Davidson.
Is such a wild story.
It really is. We are looking at his jaw-dropping physical transformation, his entry into fatherhood, and, the really intense clash between his new wholesome reality and his boundary-pushing comedic roots.
Oh, it is a fascinating collision of past and present.
Because, it seems like the ultimate Hollywood redemption arc. But later in this deep dive, we will talk about the shocking Las Vegas twist nobody saw coming that threatened to burn his new image to the ground.
I can't wait to get into that. To understand the magnitude of his arms being bare at CinemaCon, you really have to understand the sheer volume of ink he had.
Right. We are talking upwards of 200 tattoos, and my understanding is that these weren't just standard decorative tattoos, right?
No, not at all. These were highly publicized, heavily scrutinized markers of his life. He had matching Wee Baby's ink with Miley Cyrus.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Plus, he had multiple tattoos dedicated to Ariana Grande from their whirlwind engagement back in 2018.
Right.
And he even had an actual physical branding with a hot iron of Kim Kardashian's name from when they dated in 2021.
An actual branding. That is just a whole different level of permanence.
Exactly.
So to get to that April 2026 appearance, he had to go through this incredibly grueling removal journey that started around 2020. And, I think a lot of people don't fully grasp the mechanism of laser tattoo removal.
Right. It is not like erasing pencil from paper.
Not at all. It is a violent physical process.
Yeah.
The laser actually pulses incredibly intense light into the skin to shatter the heavy metal ink particles.
Which sounds incredibly painful.
It is. And then your body's immune system literally has to come in, swallow up those shattered ink fragments, and flush them out through your liver. Yeah, it takes years. And it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Reports suggest he spent roughly $200,000 on this.
That is a massive commitment.
Pete himself was quoted saying the process is, quote, awful. And he filmed it to show younger relatives as a warning, basically saying, if you don't like it, this is what you have to do.
Which is intense. But, we have to look at the psychology behind why he had those tattoos in the first place.
Yeah, let's unpack that.
Pete has been very open about his struggles with mental health, specifically borderline personality disorder, or BPD.
Right. And for those who might not be super familiar with the clinical side of that, how does BPD connect to something like getting 200 tattoos?
Well, it is a great question. For someone navigating BPD, emotions can feel incredibly overwhelming, intense, and often transient. Your internal world can just feel like absolute chaos.
So the tattoos are a way to cope with that.
Exactly. Modifying the body can sometimes be a subconscious way to exert control over that chaos. By putting a permanent mark on your skin, you are taking a fleeting, overwhelming emotion and trying to anchor it in physical reality.
That makes a lot of sense. So enduring the excruciating pain of shattering all that ink isn't just cosmetic.
No, it is quite literally a physical purging of his old coping mechanisms. He is shedding the skin of his 20s.
Though he did keep a few, like a simple mom tattoo, because his mom asked why she never got one.
I love that his mom made the final cut.
Me too. But, okay, here is the massive paradox that I am getting hung up on.
What's that?
Well, in the very midst of this painful, incredibly expensive erasure, he goes and adds a brand new tattoo.
Yeah, he does.
And not just anywhere. He puts the name Scottie vertically in all capital letters right on the left side of his face, like between his sideburn and his ear.
It is a bold choice. He stated he was doing the laser removal because he was trying to clean slate it, trying to be an adult.
Right, so why the face?
By clearing his arms and neck, he is shedding that spontaneous identity. Choosing the face for this singular new tattoo represents a massive shift. The face is the ultimate statement of permanence. It says, this is who I am now.
Wait, I have to challenge that completely.
Oh, really? How come?
How is getting a massive tattoo on your face a sign of growing up? I mean, historically, a face tattoo is the ultimate act of rebellion, like a job killer for 99% of society.
Okay, how do you see it then?
Let me offer a different analogy. Have you heard of the concept of burning the boats?
Oh, sure. Like the military strategy, right?
Yeah.
You arrive at a new shore and you burn your own ship, so retreat is physically impossible.
Exactly. I don't think this is about acting like a sanitized traditional adult. I think this face tattoo is Pete Davidson burning his boats.
That is a really interesting way to look at it.
Right, because if he completely clears his skin, he could just become another polished, boring, mainstream Hollywood leading man.
Yeah.
He could do romantic comedies and pretend the chaotic Pete never existed.
But the face tattoo stops that.
Yeah, by putting a name on his face, he's sabotaging that retreat. He is forcing himself to commit to this new identity while ensuring he can never fully assimilate into the sanitized Hollywood machine.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. He isn't conforming. He is establishing a new, highly intentional boundary.
Exactly.
He is claiming ownership of his narrative, but on his own, very permanent terms.
It is a profound psychological shift, really. And hey, if you are loving these deep dives into the psychology of Hollywood twists, make sure you are subscribed. We have got even crazier stories ahead.
Definitely subscribe.
Because the location of that face tattoo is only half the story. Wait till you hear the heartbreaking double meaning behind the name itself.
It really changes the entire narrative.
So let's get into the name, Scottie. What is the story there? Because his personal life took a massive pivot leading up to this, right?
It really did. So let's rewind slightly to early 2025. In March of that year, Pete was spotted kissing British actress and model Elsie Hewitt on a beach in Florida.
Oh, right. I remember those photos.
Yeah, it was a total whirlwind romance. By May, they made their red carpet debut. Then they moved in together, splitting time between Brooklyn and upstate New York.
Wow, they moved fast.
They did. And by July, Elsie was announcing her pregnancy. Then on December 12th, 2025, they welcomed their daughter, Scottie Rose Hewitt Davidson.
And the name Scottie is first and foremost a direct tribute to Pete's late father, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Scott Matthew Davidson was a New York City firefighter with Ladder 118.
Right.
He tragically died responding to the September 11th attacks when Pete was just 7 years old. He was last seen running up the stairs of the Marriott World Trade Center just before the Twin Towers collapsed.
Which is just unimaginably heartbreaking. And we know Pete has mined that tragedy for his comedy over the years.
He has.
But he has also been incredibly candid about the deep trauma it caused him. He has talked about acting out as a kid, struggling with anger, and just the overwhelming void that loss created.
Exactly. And the psychological weight of taking that name, a name synonymous with his deepest childhood wound and his father's profound heroism, and giving it to his newborn daughter, is staggering.
It really is.
It is a textbook example of reframing trauma. He is taking the source of his greatest grief and transforming it into the source of his greatest joy.
I really want you to think about this practically for a second. Think about your morning routine.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
You wake up, you stumble into the bathroom, you are brushing your teeth. Now imagine looking in the mirror every single morning, and right there, permanently etched beside your eye, is the name of your hero father.
Wow.
Which is now also the name of your vulnerable newborn daughter. How does that fundamentally alter your reality? You cannot just be a reckless punchline anymore.
No, you really can't. It grounds him completely. When we talk about mental health and chaotic impulses, one of the most effective grounding mechanisms is externalizing your focus.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, that tattoo is a permanent visual anchor. It reminds him daily of both his roots and his future responsibility, effectively boxing out the internal noise.
Though in classic Pete Davidson fashion, he did offer a slightly less heavy reason for the name too, right?
Oh, of course he did. He told reporters that while the tribute to his father was the primary reason, there was a lighter geographical connection.
Let me guess.
The baby was actually conceived in Scotland.
I mean, you have to laugh at that.
He joked that they always knew they'd use the name because of his dad, but the Scotland trip really sealed the deal. And the middle name, Rose, honors Elsie's family tradition.
It's just the perfect balance of deeply profound and slightly ridiculous, which is very on brand for him.
Highly on brand.
And the public reaction to this whole girl dad era has been fascinating. Elsie posted these beautiful photos on Instagram of Pete cuddling the newborn.
With the white heart emoji over her face. Right.
Yeah, protecting the child's privacy. And the caption said, "My best work yet, overflowing with love and gratitude." And Pete has been publicly calling fatherhood, quote, "freaking awesome, exhausting, and rewarding."
Which introduces a massive sociological shift, honestly.
Yeah.
We are witnessing the cultural phenomenon of the girl dad.
Tell me more about that.
Well, when a known bad boy or chaotic public figure becomes a father, society tends to collectively swoon. We project this expectation of total, instantaneous sanctification onto them.
We really do expect the rough edges to completely disappear overnight. It is so picture perfect. It feels like the ultimate tied with the bow healing journey.
Right.
But that is not even the wildest part, because just when the internet was ready to crown him Father of the Year and wrap him in this sanitized, wholesome blanket, Pete stepped onto a stage in Las Vegas.
Right. And this is where the friction of real life violently collides with societal expectations.
Let's really dig into the mechanics of his comedy for a second. Because beneath the face tattoo and the sweet Instagram posts, Pete Davidson is still a stand-up comedian.
Yes, and his specific brand of comedy is built on obliterating boundaries.
Why does Pete Davidson's comedy work? I mean, it relies heavily on brutal truths, dark confessions, and making the audience deeply uncomfortable before providing a release.
Precisely. The mechanics of taboo comedy are all about tension and release. A comedian brings up a societal taboo, like death, illness, or deeply personal trauma.
Which creates immense tension in the room.
Exactly. And when they deliver the punchline, the laughter is actually a psychological release of that tension. Pete has spent his career mastering this.
Right. I mean, he joked about his father's death. He made highly controversial jokes comparing the Catholic Church to R. Kelly. He even mocked Congressman Dan Crenshaw's eye patch.
And we have to impartially note, he also performed at the 2025 Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia. This was despite massive backlash regarding 9/11 and human rights.
Right, and he went on a podcast and essentially said, the paycheck was huge, so I went. To be clear, we are not endorsing any of this. We are simply reporting on the source material to show who he is.
Right. He has never, ever pretended to be a role model. The contract he had with his audience was basically, I am a mess, I'm going to say messed up things, and you get to laugh at my expense.
Which brings us perfectly to April 11th, 2026. Transport yourself to the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas.
The scene of the crime, so to speak.
Yes. Pete is returning to the stand-up stage after 5 months away. It is his first performance since Scottie was born.
And the crowd is eager, right?
Yeah.
They want to hear his take on fatherhood.
Exactly. They are expecting the sanitized girl dad material. He starts off by telling the audience it's weird having a little girl, and the crowd is with him.
But then things take a turn.
A huge turn. He drops the joke. He says it's hard to watch porn in front of her. He pauses, lets the uncomfortable silence hang, and adds, I still did. I power through.
Oh, wow. You can physically feel the tension in that room just hearing it. But more importantly, we have to look at the explosion that happened online afterward.
Oh, the viral backlash was instantaneous and severe. X, formerly Twitter, absolutely lit up. People weren't just offended, they were disgusted.
They branded the joke creepy and weird, didn't they?
Yeah. Users were tweeting, why would you ever associate porn with your daughter? Those are two different universes.
Which is a valid question from the public.
Absolutely. Another highly shared post read, men using their daughters as a springboard for edgy jokes will forever be weird. It was a massive, violent collision with his newly minted, wholesome image.
And this is exactly why the mechanics of taboo comedy failed him here.
How so?
Well, when Pete joked about his own trauma, his own drug use, or his own failed relationships, the audience felt a sense of relief laughing because the only victim was Pete.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but when you introduce an innocent child into the premise of a vulgar joke, the sociological dynamic shifts completely.
I want to introduce a concept here, the parasocial contract. Think of Pete's comedy like a tightrope walk over a canyon. For years, the audience had a parasocial contract with Pete that allowed him to self-destruct for our entertainment.
Because he was only risking himself.
Exactly. We liked the danger because he was alone on that tightrope. But now he's walking the tightrope holding a baby. Can a comedian whose entire brand relies on crossing the line survive when the public strictly polices how they talk about their children?
Probably not in the same way. When he makes a joke that metaphorically endangers the innocence of that baby, the audience feels complicit.
Yes, they don't feel the release of the comedy, they just feel the tension. They reject the act entirely to protect the child.
That is a phenomenal way to explain it. The audience's protective instincts override their desire to laugh.
It's wild.
We're watching a public figure desperately trying to reconcile his provocative, edgy past with his new reality as a devoted father.
Right, he is trying to figure out how to be Pete Davidson, the dark comedian, and Pete Davidson, the dad, at the exact same time.
Using the only tool he has ever known, which is shock value.
And the public is strictly policing him, watching him stumble in real time. It is a fascinating balancing act to witness. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next in the world of pop culture, because cultural friction like this is unfolding every single day.
It really is. To synthesize all of this, what we are really observing is the messy, incredibly non-linear process of human evolution.
Definitely not linear.
The painful laser tattoo removal, the incredibly bold new face tattoo, the profound tribute of the baby's name, and yes, even a highly controversial Las Vegas joke. They are not isolated events.
No, they're all puzzle pieces of a man in deep transition.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And we have taken this deep dive full circle. The theme of permanence we started with is everywhere. Pete Davidson's face tattoo isn't merely a piece of pop culture trivia or a passing celebrity headline.
It's much more than that.
It is a physical manifestation of a man caught right in the middle between erasing the chaotic permanence of his past and cementing the grounded, permanent responsibility of his future.
Well said.
And he's doing it even as he stumbles, trying to navigate that exact transition under the glaring lights of a comedy stage.
It is a stark reminder that healing and personal evolution do not happen overnight.
They certainly don't happen in a straight line.
No, and they rarely happen without a few massive missteps, especially when your default coping mechanism for your entire adult life has been dark humor and shock value.
Which brings me to a final thought for you to mull over as you go about your day.
Let's hear it.
We claim to love a good redemption arc in Hollywood, right? We love a comeback story. But when a celebrity whose entire empire was built on reckless youth, boundary-pushing jokes, and personal chaos finally attempts to grow up and find peace, do we, as an audience, actually allow them the grace to evolve?
That's a great question.
Or is our parasocial contract with them so deeply rooted in their dysfunction that we are secretly just waiting, hoping for them to play their old, messy character one more time?
Something to think about.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.